Okay, am I back? I think I am. All right, let me see if I can focus this thing. Hang on. Hopefully you can see the end of this. What I tend to do is I look at the contours of my faces and I look at the end. If it's already naturally towards one side or the other, that's the side I raise it to and flute if all other things are equal. Otherwise, I try and raise it to whichever one I think I can run the longest flute on, since I'm going to lose a little length after that, knowing that then by the time I do the second flute, the first one will have lost a little length, but it's still long, so it looks okay. So at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and choose a side here. And I'm just going to go ahead and raise, hold it like this, hopefully you can see this, and just raise it a little bit toward this face. I just do a little bit of straight down. And then I'm going to take my little braider and I braid it down a little bit, which raises a little more, and then I look at it and I see if it's about where I'm going to want it. Now I do all the abrading I want to do before I work isolations. The reason is I want the isolations to be sharp. So now I come in here like this and I go on one side of the platform and push outward a little bit to fan these isolations outward. That's one. That's two. Now, let me clean these up a little bit and then see if I can show you. This isn't the world's best. Hopefully it'll work. I wasn't going to braid it, but I'm making careful not to touch down in the isolations where it is sharp. Now, you would never try and hit this with direct percussion because probably it just flat wouldn't work. Number one, it'd be hard to hit. I didn't clear it that much. One of the reasons I don't take multiple isolation flakes coming out like they show in classic stuff is because if this one fails, I want to try and shoot one off of here next to it and come over at an angle and salvage it probably without beveling too much of it off. So this gives me second chances, and I don't need the clearance when I'm doing indirect because I'm not going to miss. There's no way for me to miss. All right, so that's set up. Now let me show you what it looks like from the side here. This is not a great surface to run along flute normally. It's a little higher right in here, and it kind of plateaus right in here and maybe comes up a little ridge going across there, plateaus again and a bigger ridge in there. Well, I'm not going to come up this far anyway, so I don't care about that. But this is pretty darn flat for traditional fluting. And if I take it too shallow, it's going to feather out and not really go into it anyway. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and take a fairly good bite of it and hit it fairly hard, and we'll see what happens. So what I do is I take and I stretch the skin across and grab it on both sides just like that. It's stretched across tight and it's grabbed on both sides. That's to keep the platform from going down, okay? Put my billet there and stick it in my leg and push it into my leg tight. Put the billet on it. Try and make sure it's at the right angle and laid up. So anyway, hopefully you can see this, wherever it is. So it didn't run super far because, like where I said it plateaued out, it did kind of plateau in there. The flute is a little bit longer underneath that. It ran a little bit underneath that part that maybe I can pick off. But the contour wasn't that great. And I'm just trying to do an example anyway so you can see how I do it. The fact that I didn't get the contour that great doesn't matter to me that much. If I had really wanted to do it good, I probably could have brought the sides in more and did more more work on the convexity to start with to get that run. But anyway, so now I'll clean it up. I'm really more interested in the concepts, and I'm not trying to make any award nominations here for doing great work, because you can always go away and do it great yourself. Trying to impart the thinking. The main thing when you're setting it up is just seeing how far it is away from the center line. Dang. That's what happens when you try and move it too far with your abrader. So see, what happened there is, okay, I braided it a bunch right there. Well, I got it lower than I want it, so now I come back and braid it a little bit back the other way and look at it and try and just get it where I want it. Round off the little knife edges with your abrader. Little knife edges are bad because if your point slips and catches that, all it does is just break that off and do a little hinge. So it might as well not even be there. Okay, so I just did my little isolations, and I did them at an outward angle so that, because what happens is you want them to go outward like this. And because they spread, you know, when you take a flake it spreads. So you got to point them outward, because if you point them inward, then when it spreads, it pinches your platform. And then your platform is just a little delta that's going to hinge out at the convexity. Or at the, where the, I can't talk, where the stuff comes together. Okay, how bad does this one look? This one's kind of like the other one in a way. I ought to raise it a little more. Ah, what the heck, I don't care. This may run, it may not. It's got a little plateau right in there too. I haven't done my greatest here with the convexity. I still feel rushed when I'm keeping track of that camera. I'll look up and it'll say 15 minutes and I'll be like, crap. Okay, so there's my little point. Jam it in my leg. Hold it tight up here. Stick it on there just where you want it. And you hit it. And so there it is. And it did the same thing the other one did because of that little plateau area. Didn't run very far. Oh, I'm mortified. I'll never show my face on Paleo Planet again. But I'll probably feel better by this evening. All right, so there's that. So that's the concept of fluting. And if you do it right and get your convexity right, you can get a flute at least twice as long as this crap. So anyway, I guess I'll come on in with it. What time is it? 8 minutes, huh? Quick, hurry! Hurry, we got to finish this thing. People got lives, man. You might think that what I'm doing looks really bad, and it is. I know I shouldn't feel this way, but one of my theories is I don't want my stuff to look too good. I just assume it look old and gnarly because I think that's cool. So I'm not like some people are, where I'm like trying to make perfection. And in this case, I'm absolutely succeeding at not making perfection. Okay. So there's my little fairly light point, and that was, you know, 3/4 of the way across it. Let's hear it for indirect, folks. Don't really want overshots at this point though, so you sort of do have to pay a bit of attention to what you're doing. Okay, now this can you see that I shot a pretty good flake across here and cut off the top where it was going under onto that flute? That's kind of a classic thing to do, and I think it looks cool. So I actually like removing the top edge of the flute sometimes. But I can't overemphasize the fact that a lot of people, I think, would be really bothered if their flake, if their point looked as unsymmetrical and stuff as it does at this point when they got to this point. Well, to me, it just gives me the surfaces still that I prefer to have until I do final pressure work. Well, that was an overshot. Can you see this right across there? Here's the flake. There's the flake. Now, show me how you do that with direct percussion. All right. I ought to just go drop this over at the river like it is. Then somebody will find it like a zillion years from now and be wondering forever why, since it isn't broken, it was discarded prior to final finishing. It would be a mystery. Be a freeze-cracked mystery. Okay, so cut the top off of that flute. I don't know if you can, hopefully you can see it. Did it focus? Are you focused? I don't see it focusing. Oh well. This is really a pathetic instructional video. Just remember you didn't pay nothing for it. I know you can't tell it, but I'm changing angles. I mean, I'm not doing them all at the same angle. It all depends on what I'm trying to do. I need to do a little bit of pressure work. What time is it? 13 minutes. I'm stopping and starting again.